wet your whistle as you will. Do people still say that phrase? I don't even know.
I don't know, but I was just recently thinking about what that means because I was trying
Wetting your
to,
whistle?
yeah,
I mean,
because I
maybe
feel like
that's what it means.
I was thinking about like when you play a saxophone or like a reed instrument, you're supposed to wet the reed first, and when you
Mm,
play a horn instrument, you're supposed to like warm the horn and like get the humidity into the horn before you play it.
mm-hmm.
And I was just like, and all the other like sexual contexts that it's used in, and I'm just like, how has the evolution of that phrase come along? But anyway, I'm glad you brought it up. I've been just kind of like ruminating
I
on
mean, that's what this is for, to get your thoughts out there. So put them anywhere you want, honestly. Do you play, I forget, do you play any of those instruments like horns or sax?
I played clarinet for maybe 4 years, 4 to 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like starting in middle school when all the kids are picking their band instruments. I picked the clarinet because they told me I needed to play the clarinet before I played the saxophone. Come to
That's so
learn,
weird.
like yeah, 15 years later, every saxophone player I talked to is like, yeah, I've never played the clarinet. You could have just started with saxophone.
Literally, I'm like, I played saxophone in like third grade, and I never heard of any teacher saying, yeah, I had to play the clarinet first.
They just needed clarinet players. I think that was
Yeah,
it. And
Yeah, they had a void you needed to fill, and they just chose you.
for sure. I'm glad I could have been of service and I could be useful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So obviously, I've talked to you guys before. It's been like almost exactly a year now, I think, since we had our like talk when I was with Big from Creative Brookline. Rest in peace. I mean, they're still going. I don't know why I said rest in peace. For me, at least. um, but for this, obviously, my listeners won't know who you guys are, so I'll probably start off just by asking you about, the Q-Tips and how you guys kind of came to be, the band came to form, and how you guys kind of knew each other and just all that good stuff. So, who are the Q-Tip Bandits and how did you guys start?
Yeah, the Q-Tip Bandits. We are a collection of quirky individuals who like making sounds with each other and just want to clean your ears and steal your hearts in the process. And how we started was we were all students at Berklee College of Music, and Claire and I were the original members that met through mutual connections and friends. I remember that Claire and I met at a rehearsal for a friend who's a producer, and he really wanted live instrumentation on his tracks. And so I was the guitarist for hire, and Claire was the bassist for hire. And I remember being in that rehearsal space. And it was like my first semester at Berklee. It's super intimidating. There's talented people everywhere. And I'm just like, what am I doing here? Let me find my footing. Like, there's a lot of natural showing off that happens because everybody's trying to like show what they got and like prove themselves at this incredible institution.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting into that rehearsal and Claire just started playing this like simple 3-chord bass line, and I was just strumming the chords along, and all of a sudden it was just like I was just dancing and laughing, playing this simple thing and having a good time. And I feel like that's the feeling we're trying to capture with the Q-Tip Bandits. That music is meant to be simple. It's meant to be appreciated and enjoyed. And it's not. And of course, we throw in the little flashy thing here and there. Everybody has a little fun, like showing off, but it's really meant to be something that we want people to be able to connect to and just listen to and feel good without needing to wrinkle their brain too much.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
it sounds like you guys kind of came together very naturally. Would you say that, Claire? Like through all this networking and whatnot and being at Berklee?
Yeah, I think the story of the band is it's a story of growth and development in itself. It's like we had friends who played instruments and we just continued to kind of collect them into our band, and becoming the 5-piece that we are now. And we started as a 3-piece with just guitar, bass, and drums. And after we finished recording our first single, Willow, we were like, this needs something.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, horns. This needs horns. And our trumpet player Macklin was best friends with a guy who lived on the floor above me in the dorms at Berkeley, and so he was hanging around all the time, and we were good friends with him and always joking around with him. And he's a fantastic trumpet player, and so one day Leo was like, "Hey, do you wanna hop on this track? Do you want to be in this band?" And thankfully said yes, and that was the start of a whole another journey.
Thankfully.
Yes.
And it's been quite a journey for you guys. Like, obviously, like I said, I know you guys from a year back, and I remember talking to you about the success you had with Willow, and you guys also toured a little bit. So how about all of that experience? Like, what was that like?
It's my turn again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been incredible. We actually did a tour before we had any music out, which is kind of backwards from like what any, I feel like, band advice blog will tell you.
Yeah.
I didn't know those existed. That's cool. The band advice blog.
Band advice blog. It's like you do your research, like how to tour. It's like that very
10 things to know before you go on tour as a band.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But so we were just itching to play music for people and itching to get on the road and tour. And touring's always been a dream of mine. I'm sure for you as well.
Yeah.
And so we just we hit the road on the summer of 2018, right? That was our first tour.
Yeah, I think so. Spring 2018.
Yeah. And we did kind of like an East Coast and a little bit of a Midwest tour. Just kind of playing spots that we knew we had couches to sleep on that night. And that was kind of how we based our tour. But it kind of worked in our favor, I think, because by the time we had released Willow in early 2019, people kind of were already familiar with us. And they're like, oh, that's that band we saw play that one time at that coffee shop in Concord, New Hampshire, And so that got us a little bit of traction, I think, with our first single release, which was Willow. And then that enabled us to be able to have a little bit of steam to be able to tour Western Europe when we were over there for a study abroad program in Spain. And
Yeah.
It's been a wild ride. Obviously, it's been like a little bit paused now with the whole pandemic and not being able to have live entertainment. But you guys did put out a project last year, and I think we talked about this when I last talked to you guys, the EP Ain't It Great. So what have you been doing since Ain't It Great? Like, how have you been keeping your creative creative juices flowing and that momentum going since putting out that project?
Good question. I feel like at first it was very much like we had a tour planned, we had shows planned, and that energy really was focused into some live streams at first and like trying to play for people and get out there in the best way that we could. And after a little while of doing that, luckily we had Plaid Dog reach out to us, their studio out in Boston right now. And they have a crowdfunding system where they find up and coming artists, people who are really starting to get their name out, and they help them set up a crowdfunding campaign and put together a record. And so a lot of the summer was geared toward organizing that crowdfunding campaign and also putting together our music video for Willow. And as of late, we were working on a lot of demos, really just doing that whole idea dump. Like, let's get all the basics recorded and let's just throw every idea. No idea is a bad idea. And next month, we're getting into the studio and just kind of like stripping away all the ideas that might not fit.
That's exciting, though. Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
You guys must be hyped for that.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I think we're itching to put out new music. And so to see that goal, like, you see the finish line there, the finish line of the start of the next chapter. So we're definitely excited to be able to get back into the studio and record some more, put out some more music.
Yeah, and it's starting to come back to me because I remember you guys saying you had like music videos and trying to put some more material and eventually touring at some point. And what was it like doing the Willow music video? Like, is that the first time you guys have done a music video for one of your songs?
Yeah, it was. And it was quite an interesting experience. First of all, because it was our first music video, but also it was film during a pandemic. So we don't know what it's like to not film a music video during a pandemic.
Right.
And so it was very like everyone had their own designated spaces. They had to kind of stay in, and it was, very strict like mask enforcement. And it was like cameras are off, masks are on, look at that sort of thing. And it's like it was an interesting experience paired with the fact that it was like 95 degrees outside and we were running around through fields and our director was like, go
again.
Definitely something you won't forget. You can put that on your band's resume.
Right.
Yeah.
Like knows how to make music video during pandemic with little dot that says can also run through fields at 95 degree weather.
Right.
Yeah.
For real.
Wow. But it sounds like you had a good time. Like, do you like how it came out? Was the final product kind of how you imagined it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with the initial brainstorming writing session, like we had this whole elaborate plan of like we had Rory McLaughlin come on, who is the child actor in our video.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a part of a group of child actors that we reached out to because we wanted a kid to represent each individual band member. And it was meant to be like this the kids build a time machine or build a age machine, and they all pop out as us full-grown adults, and at the end somebody takes down the machine and we're stuck in these bodies. And because of the pandemic, like understandably a lot of parents were not comfortable with their kids being on set and just wanted the most safe, healthy environment for their child, which is completely understandable. Rory's mother is a healthcare worker, so she was kind of like plugged in, and wherever she was very comfortable having Rory on, and we were very grateful for that. But in a way, it was like it did not come out how we initially thought it was going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
But we're very happy with how it did turn out. It ended up being more like a Wes Anderson Where the Wild Things Are or Wes Anderson Winnie the Pooh kind of story. And I'm a big fan of both of those things. And so very happy with the outcome.
Yeah, I remember you saying too, Leo, when we talked a year ago about how a lot of those are big influences for you and how you like to depict a story and like something very creative and kind of fantasy like. So would you say that's kind of what you guys were going for with this?
Totally. Yeah, we wanted it to have elements of magic, elements of like really just a childlike imagination and wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of that the innocence and the excitement and explorative spirit that comes with this like existential questioning of like we're all here thrown here for whatever reason, but we all kind of approach it, at least from what I've seen, the ones who find joy and purpose in life are the ones who continue to seek out that childlike imagination or that explorative spirit.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's awesome. Kind of keeping that younger energy alive in us as we get, older. That it gets harder
totally.
and it gets harder to like, keep as you get caught up in just, day-to-day life, working, paying bills, things like that. Like that's a really good message to send across with your music.
Thank you.
For sure. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and you guys have done some other stuff, obviously, with the pandemic and being virtual. You guys actually, I just saw played a virtual event for, is it Berkeley Songwriters or something like that? So what was that like?
Yeah, we've done a good amount of smaller scale virtual events throughout this whole time. The most recent one being a live stream for Berkeley's Songwriter Club, which is cool because it's kind of tapped into the community that we all came from, and kind of to be able to play for that community again is always cool, especially in the wake of not being able to play at the actual venues around the school. But the whole live stream experience is very interesting. Like we still haven't quite, I don't know if there ever will be a comparison between live and live stream, but we're definitely trying to figure out ways to, make it still engaging and still be able to interact with people in the audience and
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because
yeah,
it's kind of all you have right now, too, when you think about it. You know, it's going to have to satisfy those needs of performing.
For
right.
sure.
Yeah, something that we have been doing that kind of has been bridging the void that performances have left is we've been going busking a lot in the streets of Boston and around surrounding neighborhoods, and that's been really nice to be able to like connect with people even from a distance, but still like face to face, and get this immediate feedback reaction of like, wow, the music we're playing is making that person dance over there, and that's a great feeling.
Yeah. I think we're such a live band. Like so much of our performance is like the goofy dancing, the like coordinated dance moves, all the like shouting back and forth between the audience, that over a live stream it's like we are placed in a setting where we need to connect in a more tame way, which
That's fair. You also have this much like space to move around, right?
Right.
So, like, I can't dance. I'm gonna be off screen.
Right. Right.
How have your fans kind of stuck with you guys through this, though? Like, have you seen a good reception from them? I've talked to another artist who said the same thing. Like, it's really hard right now to have that genuine connection with fans without the in-person component. But have you noticed, like, your fans still kind of showing the reception that they would if they were seeing you live?
I think there's a natural a natural fleetingness to the live stream world, because it's like even I'm like when I see one of my favorite bands doing a live stream, it's like I tune in for like 5 minutes, and it's just like anything else on social media. I just keep scrolling, and it's like I find that that's the case, that we still have a response. Like people tune in and they'll comment and then they'll leave, but that's natural. There's no like hard feelings about that. I understand the nature of it. I think where it really shows that the fans are still being really like, what I'm grateful for is like this crowdfunding campaign that we did. We sent out like 1,000 emails maybe, and like to get, I think it's like 300 or 400 back of
Oh
people who are
boy.
willing to like support, and like not just support with their double tapping of like a screen on Instagram, which is great, that helps us out. But to have somebody give their money, which is representation of their energy, which is representation of their time, the thing that was hard earned, to support us, is like that crowdfunding campaign gave me that boost of like, we haven't connected in person with so many people, but the people who want to see us do great are still out there. And that was huge for me during this time.
Yeah, I agree. It was a big morale boost and just like community sense boost, I guess. Just be like, yeah, there's people out there who care. There's people out there who continue to care throughout these tough times, especially. And we just can't wait to be able to give back to those people with this album.
For real. Yeah. I think that's yeah. That's all. I'm so excited to like get this record out there. I'm excited for like we have a Twitch live stream coming up with Berkeley's Popular Music Institute.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited for that. I think it's worth mentioning that to not even for me, just to not let myself get too down about not playing live shows. It's like playing those live streams is fun. It's like it's nice for the band to have a reason to get together and play the songs, and we
Very
get
true.
all the comments coming in, and it does bring a sense of like purpose. It is not the ideal, but it's like it's on the way there.
Yeah, it's uplifting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And another thing too with the live streams and the fact that our audience, like, thankfully is a little bit kind of spread out across the world, is that you can now tune in, from wherever in the world you are.
Sure.
We have a friend who's out in Thailand who, has never been able to see us play live, and it probably will be a while before we can get her over to Thailand to play. But she was able to tune in to a live stream that we had, a few weeks ago, and that was just, it's really nice to be able to have that connection also with people across the world through that format.
That's fucking beautiful. I didn't even think of it like that until like right now when you said that.
There's
Yeah,
always a silver lining to things. Like
absolutely.
there's a good and a bad side to everything. And like Claire just mentioned, the connectivity that we have with the live streams and social media, it spans so much.
For sure.
But
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
And what are you
Agreed.
guys kind of envisioning with this album or this project that you're eventually putting together? Like you said earlier, you have like this whole idea dump throughout all of like the past year. What are some thoughts or some themes that you see maybe coming up on this project?
The record is called Melancholy Flowers.
Okay, we got a name. That's
Yeah.
good.
And it is birthed from quirkiness. It is birthed from, and this is the Easter egg. And I hope whoever comes to this podcast and hears it will continue to spread the good word. But it was literally just when I was a kid, I thought melancholy was cauliflower. Like I
Okay.
just thought like melancholy was the name for that vegetable.
You're not that far off.
Yeah, we're pretty close. But then I kind of just combined the two, and it just became melancholy flowers, and
I see.
separate it into what it is now of melancholy flowers. And I think the theme is definitely, so we've had a lot of people ask because we've pasted the name on our van.
Hmm.
And so people have come up and they're like, "Oh, are you a funeral flower service?"
Bet you weren't expecting that one to come up
Yeah,
in question.
right. Which I kind of love. At first it's like, oh no, I have to explain it every time, and that's
Right.
fine. I'm about it. Anything to plug the music is cool
Yeah.
for me. But even that idea of like flowers at a funeral, it's like, how can we bring beauty into a space that is not necessarily beautiful?
Hmm.
A lot of the songs on the record have this, are musically uplifting and fun and lyrically thoughtful, I would say.
Hmm.
Where it's like, I can dance to the song, but if I wanted to listen to the lyrics, I can also cry if I wanted to,
Hmm.
if I was in that space. And the hopes is to bring a sense of joy, or a sense of beauty and love in that comes from a place of darkness. I think of like just the feeling of grieving,
Hmm.
where it's like, I'm hurting because I love. There's so much goodness to be found in whatever the pain and the darkness is. And
Hmm.
that's the theme, or the general message.
Yeah, the main concept you could say, yeah.
Totally. And the first single, or one of the singles off the record, will be called Daisy, and
Hmm.
then and another song off the record is Dandelion. And so we're just trying to like, and they each represent a character.
Hmm.
Like Daisy's like a character study of one, of a imaginary person made up of a bunch of people that I've known, and so is Dandelion. And it's like painting this picture of, we're all just these melancholy flowers, these beautiful, sad things just moving around the world.
I was hoping that there'd be flower theme just throughout. I was hoping that every song would be a different flower. So that at least alludes to something. But I like that concept. That sounds really, really cool. And where
Thank
are you at, like, in terms of the production process? Like, have you just kind of written the songs, gotten like a base? Is it just next stages are going to be like the mixing and the editing?
Yeah, the songs they're all finished being written, and like
Hmm.
Leah said, we've been spending a lot of time working on demos and kind of recording in our own basement before we record in the actual studio we're going to do the finished product in. And because of COVID, our timeline has been continuously shifting a little further and further back. But come April, I think we should be able to be getting into the studio to actually start tracking the final versions of these songs.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's not that far away. Like, that really is coming around the corner.
Yeah.
Totally.
It must be really exciting too for you guys to get like the full band back together. Obviously, you've had some live stream events together, but to actually be in a studio environment, it's probably even a whole different experience.
Oh, for sure. Just having the five of us in a room together after so long is so uplifting, and just so like, this feels right.
Do you guys
I,
like keep in touch pretty frequently?
Oh yeah, I live with the drummer and the trombonist,
Okay, gotcha.
but our trombone player just moved back from New Orleans,
Hmm.
so he was gone for most of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And our trumpet player also lives in Boston, but he's a part of like a different pod.
Okay.
So like if there's no need for us to get together, we really don't want to risk it. But when we get together to rehearse and perform and to record, and when all five of us are in a room together, there's definitely just like this buzz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And would you say that you guys are looking forward to most performing live once the pandemic ends?
I think so. That's the thing that we're missing the most right now. It's we're trying to think of all these different ways of how we can make it work. Like we're hoping to be able to do a busking tour this summer, and even if we can't play like live venues, at least be able to play in the streets of these different cities and still be able to play for people and play for New Year's. But definitely once those venues open back up and we can be able to have that moment on the stage and off the stage with people, that it'll be magical.
Yeah, for real. I'm definitely looking forward to touring this record, hopefully, and like
Hmm.
being able to play these songs for people and have a place for them to go to hear these songs.
Yeah, because we've been playing these songs for
Like 2 years now.
like 2 years. These songs
Wow.
have been on rotation with every live show that we've been playing.
Yeah. It's gonna mark the end of this beginning chapter for us. All the songs that we've been playing since the conception of the band will be out on streaming platforms where people can go listen to them, and it'll be like an opportunity for us to celebrate that and also, start playing new songs and like writing new songs and
Hmm.
Yeah.
moving
Yeah,
on.
keep the
Yeah,
creative process going.
totally.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you see you guys kind of growing as a band and as an artist and as like collectively? Do you see yourselves just throughout this whole process of being in quarantine, just experimenting with new like ideas and sounds?
Yeah, I totally see us just like I'm already in the mindset of like let's continue to just try crazy ideas with our music, and whatever crazy ideas relatively means for the Q-Tip Bandits. But it's like let's continue to grow and develop the sound and try to push ourselves into a space of discomfort, I guess,
Mm.
and
Like, don't get too comfortable. Exactly.
yeah, and as for like growth, there's always that chance. We're always just like that TikTok video could be huge. That we could send that email and all of a sudden be opening for like the Strokes or like
Yeah.
the Red Hot Chili Peppers. There's always the chance. But I'm also like in that place of like I feel grateful that the people who are in this band, I feel like they're very invested, and we all know that we're putting our energy into something that's worth doing.
Hmm.
And I am beyond grateful and happy to even just look at our growth and just be like, yeah, 10 years from now, just this steady growth that we're already hitting, we're gonna have we'll have that huge following that we would have gotten with like what going viral on TikTok. But at that point, we'll have people who've loved us since day one. We'll
Hmm.
have people who followed us on this journey where it's like, and I'm grateful either way. It's like I know we're headed towards something. How
Hmm.
we get there, we'll wait to see how that plays out. But I know we're headed there, and
Yeah,
that
for sure. Claire,
yeah,
what do you think? Do you feel like the same way?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you said of like the people who are in this band now. We're in it for the ride, like we're strapped in wherever we're going together. And I think it's a great feeling to know and to be in this together, to know that you have people that you can count on. And we're just gonna keep trying our best, keep making music, keep trying to connect to people, and
mhm.
um, like Leo said, however we get there, we get there. But that's the goal, is to get there.
And there is now.
There is
There is
Yeah.
now. It's like if I'm not happy playing to the people that are that love what we do now, if I'm not happy connecting, if I'm not happy creating right now, it's not gonna make a difference if there's 10,000 people listening to what we're doing versus 100.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like right now we're already doing it.
So true.
And then we just keep doing it.
Yeah.
If I think about it too, like high school me playing in bands, if I would have known that like I'd be in a band that is where we're at right now in high school, like I would have adored, you know, being in this spot.
Yeah.
So like
yeah,
this is great. There's nothing to complain about.
Right. Living the dream.
Yeah.
And the more that I feel like I can embody or we can embody that attitude of like we're already living the dream,
Yeah.
then it's gonna keep growing.
Awesome. Yeah. Very inspirational. I love that. Wow, I thank you guys so much for doing this. Like I love talking to you guys. Like I said, I had to reach out to you after a year. Before we wrap this up though, you have to tell the story again about how you got the name the Q-Tip Bandits.
Oh my goodness.
Which story did we tell you last time?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to remember. There's multiple stories.
Like whatever you think comes to mind or you think is the most entertaining, what you tell other people, you know.
You know, I'll keep it with the truth. I'll keep it with the
That's
truth.
probably the best way to do it, Leo.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I will save the all the skits and all the fairy tales for social media.
Okay.
But I in starting this band, you know, like it was the original configuration, what I think of before I even met Claire. You know, this was like my first week at Berkeley. I had all these original songs. I was trying to pull band members together, and there was a cellist in this group, and she was looking for names for her string quartet. And like all these names were being thrown out, like Velociraptor, Infinite Jest, the Foreskins, like just the most ridiculous, no ideas, a bad idea kind of space.
I was like, Berkeley sounds like an amazing place to be at.
It definitely can be.
Cool.
Yeah. And I threw out the name the Q-Tip Bandits. And she was like, wow, that's great. Not for my project though, but that's great. Like you hold on to that. And I remember the first show we played, I was introducing us and like introducing the individual band members. And it got to the point where there's this lull and I was just like, and we're the Q-Tip Bandits. And it just kind of stuck and it just kept on being what I introduced the band as. And over time, it's slowly taken the meaning that, you know, we're here to clean your ears and to steal your hearts. There's a lot of noise out there and there's a time and a place for it. But we want to be something that you can listen to and connect to deeply rather than just dance to dance to.
Yeah. It's like you want the whole package. You want it to be meaningful and you want it to be fun.
Totally.
I think that is the story you told me last time. It's coming back to me. I think
Cool.
that is give or take. Yeah, probably some other details were missing here nor there, but
For sure.
sounds about right to me or what I remember.
Cool.
But awesome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Why don't you let my listeners know where they can find you, you know, on streaming services, on social media, online, things of that sort.
Yeah, we are on all streaming platforms, wherever you get your music, we're there.
Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal.
And as for social media, we're at the Q-Tip Bandits on Instagram. No space, no hyphens, no underscores. And we just recently made a TikTok at the Q-Tip Bandits. That's been a whole
Nice.
It's been a whole pandemic adventure for us. Quarantine time.
Hey, you got to expand your horizons, build those social algorithms.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're on Facebook also under the Q-Tip Bandits. And yeah, we're on Bandcamp also. That's where we have most of our merch and our socks and our t-shirts and stickers and pins and such. So
how's that been going, by the way? You guys selling a decent amount?
Every once in a while, we take advantage of like the Bandcamp Fridays where they we don't need to pay that 15% cut to Bandcamp for our sales. And so we take those opportunities to promote our merch.
Okay, gotcha.
But I think without touring, it definitely is it takes more effort to sell merch if we're not playing shows and then having the table
Definitely.
set up.
Yeah.
So hopefully after all this and you guys go back on the road, you'll connect with fans, you'll have more music out, and you'll sell more socks.
Yeah.
Goal.
That's the goal. That's the big goal.
Totally.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys coming on.
For sure.
Yeah.
We appreciate you having us. It's always a good time.